We are live.
All right.
Good evening. Welcome to Herman J. Russell Weston Academy's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Herman J. Russell Weston Academy Go Team meeting to order. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll. Lysandra Clark Wilkins, Monique Lewis, Joyce Lewis, Marcia Leverett,
Present.
Samantha Porter, present. Victoria Robinson is present. Eric White,
Present.
Maury Russell, and Patrice Jordan.
Present.
Victoria Robinson is present.
Yes, thank you. This meeting, okay, I'm sorry. This meeting will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ms. Porter, is there a quorum present? Yes, there is a quorum present. We will now, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Okay. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Please take a moment to review the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? So if no changes, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
A second? I'll second it. Okay. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. For the next few minutes, we will be focusing on creating a budget for the next school year, which aligns with our strategic plan and addresses our strategic priorities. We need to ensure our meeting schedule will permit us to complete the budget and aligns with the district timeline. We need to have a draft budget completed prior to our principal staffing conference, sometimes between February 21st and February 28, 2023. Then we will need to have a meeting after the staffing conference and before Friday, March 17th, 2023 for the final budget approval. Principal Green, when is the school's first staffing conference scheduled to take place?
February 21st is when it will take place.
Thank you for that information. We will now take a minute to look at our meeting schedule and determine if we can meet the expectation and timeline. Do I hear? Okay. Are we making any changes to the calendar? Okay,
No.
okay. All right. So we will now move to our next item, the budget allocation presentation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Porter, for leading us and starting us off for our Go Team meeting this evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. So this meeting it will consist of the budget development and the feedback process. We'll go ahead and get started because it's a little lengthy, but I need your feedback and your input as we are moving through this. So good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thank you again for joining us today. We're getting ready to begin our process of planning our school's budget for next year. And I know that we're all here for the same reason, and that is to ensure that students are successful at the Herman J. Russell West End Academy. This meeting is to provide an overview of the draft budget and for you to give feedback on the draft. Let's go over our norms really quickly before we begin. This is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. We will follow the agenda as noticed to the public and stay on task. We invite and welcome contributions of every member and listen to each other. And we will respect all ideas and assume good intentions. So today I will provide an overview of the budget allocations for school year 2023-2024. And we will begin the work of funding the strategic priorities that we agreed upon during our last strategic review meeting. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at where we are with our budget. And again, I will be periodically asking you all questions and explaining to you what is going on. So here we are with the overview of what this process looks like. It says we are here and here. That means that we combined our meetings to go ahead and look at the budget as an initial allocation and to also give feedback on what is being presented tonight. So this budget allocation meeting, let's talk about the what, why, and when. So what it means is that this is the first Go Team meeting where I'm going to provide for you an overview of the allocation and to the public and to the Go Team members. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because this meeting provides us an opportunity for me and the Go Team to ensure alignment on those things that we agreed upon as our top key strategic priorities, and for us to gain a deeper understanding of what this budget allocation process looks like, and to provide input to drive the direction of the draft budget. When does this take place? So this began early January, end of January, and early February. So here we are at the process of where we're combining those two to ensure that we are going to be prepared for our staffing conference that happens next week. So what is my role and what is you all's role in this? This is what the process looks like. So again, remember, we focused on those strategic priorities that last meeting where we went through and we decided which ones were key. So with that process, when you take those key priorities, your budgets must align to your priorities. My role in this is to design the budget and propose operational changes that can raise student achievement. I'm also to flesh out strategies, implement and manage them at the school level, focus on the day-to-day operations, serve as the expert of the school, and hire quality instructional and support personnel. Your role, the Go Team's role in this, is to focus on the big picture. What does that mean? I know it's hard, it's difficult, but we must focus on the positions and resources, not the people that are attached to the position. We are to ensure that the budget is aligned to the school's mission and vision, and that the resources are allocated to support all of our key strategic priorities. And this again these are the strategic priorities, and you'll see it in a different format shortly. That will be a little bit easier for us to read. Let's see, let me get this off the screen. All right, so here they are, those strategic plans, the strategic plan priority ranking. Remember when we went through and ranked which ones were at the top and which ones would be something that we could rank lower. So again, I'm not going to read all of them to you, but you'll see them periodically throughout this presentation. And this is just to give you an overview. There are 9 of them. And so you should see those 9 aligned to the budget. once you see the decisions that have been made in the draft. All right, so this part here is just aligning what is the rationale for our priorities. This is something that we came up with when we met last time. So again, the priorities are on here, ranked number 1 through 9. The first one, improving student mastery of core content knowledge. Why? Why is that a priority for our school? Because it is attached to student achievement on the milestones and more, right? But at the end of the day, the CCRPI comes from our milestones. Our next priority is preparing and developing knowledgeable staff and making sure that they're focused on quality teaching. The rationale why we selected that is because it gives teachers the tools to be able to provide quality teaching. Another priority, building teacher capacity in all of our core content areas. Why is that important? Because it ensures standards-based mastery instruction. Recommending high quality staff for vacant positions. Why do we need to do this? Because we know that effective qualified teachers equals student success. Our fifth priority, implementing an effective STEAM enriched curriculum to drive interdisciplinary and project-based teaching and learning approaches. The rationale behind that is because we are aiming for STEAM certification. School priority for the next one, foster a positive school culture through a collaborative, inclusive, and responsive school culture that embraces diverse communities and stakeholders that comprise the Herman J. Russell West End Academy family. Why is that important to us? Rationale behind that, it improves students' ability to learn by creating a positive environment. When you build relationships with the students and the teachers, it improves their ability to learn. And our last three, closing the student achievement gap with regular education students and our students with disabilities. Why is this something that should be happening at our school? Because it provides equitable learning opportunities. Ensuring systems and resources are aligned to our school priorities. Why should we do that? To achieve the desired outcomes for students by establishing and also sustaining partnerships. And lastly, increasing opportunities for parental involvement. Why is that important? It enhances academic performance and it has a positive influence on student behavior. So again, these are just our priorities that we came up with attached to a rationale. Why did we say that? So now I'm going to go through our executive summary and what this means. The budget represents an investment plan for our school students, employees, and the community as a whole. The budget recommendations are tied directly to the school's strategic vision and direction. Our proposed budget for the general operations of the school are reflected at $6,022,808. What I can say about this number today, we did receive at the late hour a change to this number. It was reflected of maybe a couple of dollars change, so you will see that. I did get an opportunity to put that on the rest of the slides, but the number is a tad bit off, and we were given probably until tomorrow to get those things allocated. But again, you'll see it on other slides. This investment plan for school year 24 accommodates a student population that is projected to be 392 students. This is an increase of what we were allocated for this current school year by 4 students. So let's take a look at our school allocation. If you see the number total earned at the top, 5 million, that's where the change is with the dollar amount. What happened with that? It was a change in the small school supplement and a couple of different things that were something that were out of our control, but that is just what the allocation, this is what the school is allocated for. And if you see, it only shows 6th through 8th. We are to have 118 6th graders. We're allocated to have 140 7th graders and 134 8th graders. See here. All right, and the school allocation for additional earnings, our signature funds we receive, as you can see, is roughly $230,000, and we do not receive any turnaround funds. Title I, You see how much we receive for Title I. We do not receive anything for Title I holdback. Our Title I family engagement is $6,000. We do not receive Title I school improvement funds. You see what it says for behavior, summer bridge. That's where the fifth graders are coming up to middle school. This is the allocation for that. Field trip transportation, you see how much is allocated, $14,668. Stipends, district funded stipends, that's your athletics, that's your fine arts, are all pushed into our general budget. We did not receive a reduction to our current budget, and as you can hear, is the FTE allotment. And this comprises what our budget looks like. This is CARES. So we receive CARES funding, which will leave us shortly. But as you can see, it says, in addition to the general fund allocation, our school has been allocated CARES funding that must be used to support implementation of the school-based intervention block and other school-based needs as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. This writing where it mentions the intervention block, you will see in our slides something that's been projected to increase our student success. So the decisions that were made, of course, were all based around what would be best for children under the condition that we had funds that we lost when we began to budget to balance out this budget. So things had to be shifted. Once the support needed to implement our school-based block or the course has been fulfilled, we can use the remaining CARES funds to address other school-based needs that are a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Let's see, something happened here. I'm sorry, y'all. Go back. All right. Okay, CARES allocations. So when it's saying that things have to be, I'll go back to what what it says you have to use the funds for. So once you have fulfilled the needs of intervention and anything that is a result of COVID-19, that could be learning loss, that could be, there are so many things that fall under the COVID-19 pandemic, and we know it because we're in the schools every day and we experienced it. And so those funds were used towards anything that may affect COVID-19 and intervention. So this is what the expenditures look like, things that can be purchased under the CARES allocation. So technology support, mental and physical health, that's the wraparound services, counseling, telehealth, which thankfully our district has provided that part for us, the Hazel Health, supplemental learning. So that's remediation, enrichment opportunities during the school year, and additional pay for teachers and staff if they choose to do additional tutorials or things like that, which will be coming up as well. Professional development, at-risk student populations, covering cost of specific activities and services, and continuity of core staff and services. So that's to restore any positions that were due to budget reductions and decreased in our local revenue. So that's just a brief overview of what our budget, the draft of the budget looks like. Are there any questions that you may have regarding our budget, our draft budget? Anyone have any questions regarding that before we move into the next portion of our meeting? All right, no one have any questions. So at this point, we're going to go into the process where you will have opportunity to ask questions and give feedback to what you see and what you may feel will be best. And I would love to hear from you what your thoughts are, because again, what you all bring in this Go Team meeting will be discussed in the staffing conference. This will be something that what you bring, the feedback that you give is definitely something that will go back when I get to the staffing conference to ensure that we are doing the right thing and what's best for children. And so at this time, I'm just going to go ahead into the next portion because it is another part where you'll be able to ask questions. So again, this is the feedback process. This is where it begins, and I'll just go over what that means. The budget feedback meetings are where, what does it mean? It's the sessions that are scheduled to where you all receive and see the school budget, and the Go team members get a chance to see it along with the general public. Why is that happening? This meeting provides the opportunity to discuss the budget and to support any pragmatic needs and any key strategic priorities. When does this happen? It's happening now, y'all. We've combined them. So it happens, and what this means is it has to happen before the staffing conference. So again, we are doing that now. And again, it says it can be combined, and that's what we have done today. So again, we talked about this the first time, the rationale for our priorities. So I won't necessarily go through that part again, but I would like to go through the breakdown of the categories. So what you'll see on the next few slides, the priorities, what that means, that's what we talked about, those 9 things that we ranked. You will also see how the APS 5 aligns to what we said we would do. You will see some strategies that are laid out for school improvement. You will see a request where this means you have opportunity to ask what needs to be funded in order to support that strategy, and the amount. What does it cost, right? What does it cost? What are the costs that are associated with the request? So here on these next few slides, I'm going to show you how I have allocated the budget to support our strategic priorities based on our strategic priorities and funds that we have received. This is a breakout of the priorities, which focus area it addresses, the strategies that will be implemented, the purchase request, which funding source was used, and the amount. So what I would like to say with this part is that I tried to make sure that the changes that were made or suggestions that were made would not impact students instructionally, and also would not impact our budget. As you can see, a lot of shifts will have $0 next to it. It did not cost us anything to do this. It only required for me and the team to repurpose positions to where the request, what is being asked of, can directly impact children. So I will go through these, and if you have any questions, I will definitely answer your questions. So the first one, the priority is improving student mastery, and it's aligned to personalized learning and curriculum. So what is going to happen here? Ongoing training in PLCs, minutes are being added to the class period and integrated into intervention. So what does that mean? We right now have 55, 60 mini classes, so we'll add 15 to 20 minutes to each day, abolish that 6th and 8th grade intervention position, and repurpose those people to different positions. Did that cost anything? No, it did not. So those positions, that 5th teacher that was on 6th and 8th would be no longer. Everybody would do intervention on their grade level. The ELA teacher would be the one to do Read 180. The math teacher would do Math 180, ELA and System 44. So again, it didn't cost anything to do that. The second one is implement an effective STEAM enriched curriculum. And this ties to our signature programming. What is happening here? So we have 2 computer science classes, and we have to keep one because we need it for CCRPI. And shout out to us because we have 100% of our children enrolled, which gives us those beyond the core points for CCRPI. But back to this, abolishing 1 computer science class because we have 2. One of those people or whomever would become a STEAM master teacher leader. What does that mean? That person would push into PLCs to help align STEAM to curriculum. We recently did empathy interviews at our school, and a lot of those interviews, the feedback came out that STEAM happens over here, and math, science, language arts, anything else happens over here. And what we have to figure out and what we have to do in order for our children to benefit from our signature program is to create a position where one person can push into all contents and provide support on how to align STEAM. What does that look like when I'm in social studies and I'm doing a unit in Georgia studies? How can I align STEAM and it not be something separate? It's not just building robots and shooting rockets. We have to make sure our children understand that STEAM can be done in all classes, and it happens everywhere. And as you can see, it did not affect our budget at all. It's just a repurposing of the position. Here are another other requests that were made. Consolidating one of our PE classes and providing an opportunity for a master teacher leader to do pullouts and build capacity. It should say amongst the school. Sorry for that error. But what does that mean? One PE teacher would do health for one semester and would also teach PE the next semester. Why is this being done? That person would serve as a master teacher leader to do push-ins on 7th or 8th grade and possibly 6th grade, and monitor behavior, attendance, promote SEL, build capacity by assisting with doing pullouts with PE and health as well. But the need is to provide some more support for our students so the culture piece can be cultivated, so we can continue to culture build, and it can't be done without a person that can be aligned to that grade level, which possibly would be the 7th grade. The only thing that would cost that's funding wise on the changes is to provide a business manager position. What does that look like? Our school has about 32 active partnerships, and you all see it on Wednesdays on what that looks like, and it's more. And what that means, that person would increase our partnerships to where it's community engagement, continuing to build the relationships with those that we really have almost, it's almost a barrier in between now because it's no one to do that. We don't have anyone, a position currently that would do that, to act as a liaison between our school and our partners. There's so many things that have been brought to me that our staff and our students would need, but there isn't quite a person right now to do that work. And where does that fall under the APS 5? It falls under the whole child, because this is something that contributes to systems, resources, school priorities. This person can increase the partnership. So they have to be someone that is a go-getter, someone that goes out, into the community and goes out and builds those partnerships, and also help operationally with our school. A comment was just made before this meeting, and I've heard numerous times, hey, we need this done over here and we need that done over here, but there's nobody to manage that process. And so I have one person that is serving 4 different capacities. She wears 4 hats, and there's definitely someone that needs to be in that position to ensure that she is not burnt out and not able to do the things that she is hired to do. So that was the reasoning behind this position. It's an annual position. This is someone that works year round to ensure that things are ready for day one when we come back to school, and operationally, again, works throughout the school year. So that was the general budget. Now you have CARES. Now CARES, remember I told you, is geared towards intervention support, loss of learning, possibly from COVID. So those things that will help, that goes directly to how to build how to increase student achievement. So if you would take a look at, I'll just start with the request and go the other way. The allocations with CARES, this CARES has to be spent by a certain time, and it doesn't roll over. So you have to spend these funds, these additional funds to, it's just additional funds for our school that we definitely need to help, do things that we need to do. So currently there's one math teacher that's being funded out of that position. And that math teacher, that's the cost for a math teacher. And why did we choose to put that teacher in this budget? Again, because the development of this teacher, it falls under curriculum instruction. It's a high quality staff member, but also this is someone that was needed in order to increase that loss of learning from COVID. And also to provide some intervention support, because again, remember, we are requesting for intervention to take place in the math class. Secondly, contracted services for instruction. That means we will have new staff that comes on board, that those people who will be new to our school and possibly new to the field of coaching and administrative work. And so there are things that need to be built out additionally to help support them, so they can support teachers. And so it's almost like this year when we began the academic programming framework to ensure that coaches knew what to do with teachers. This person will continue to provide services for our academic program. And teacher stipends. We have so many clubs that we offer, STEAM clubs, and there are also additional clubs that we have that thankfully, this CARES provides the stipends for that. Media supplies and web-based subscriptions. There are a lot of programs that help meet kids where they are and also help to push them to grade level. This is the projected cost for that. And as you see, it aligns to personalized learning, and it will help close that achievement gap for those students who are below grade level and are needing to get on grade level. And lastly, teaching supplies and incentives. This provides those students incentives. We do attendance incentives every month, and we do incentives for those students who meet their targets and goals. And also our teacher supplies come out of this budget. And as you can see, the cost for that, and it's aligned directly to instruction, curriculum and instruction. And ensuring what this does is it provides resources so we can run school. And lastly, dues and fees. We now, as you know, are part of the STEAM Society, National Honor STEAM Society, and there are other memberships that are coming about, and we do not want our staff or students to have to pay for those things. So we have allocated $2,000 for those fees that cover memberships and society fees and dues and things like that we have to pay for. And why is this important? It ties to curriculum instruction and data, and prepares and develops our staff, right? And when they're part of those memberships and our students who are part of those clubs, it helps increase their learning as well. Now, with this Title I Family Engagement Funds, we received $6,000. And what that means, these funds go directly to our family engagement. And all $6,000 is going to our parent liaison for the resources and materials that are needed to coordinate family events, increase our number of families who have access to parent portal. And what that looks like, we're looking to get transportation that will be able to come out, or possibly fund transportation, Ubers, things that would get our parents out and have them, so they have a way to come to our school. And again, the priority this aligns to is our increasing opportunities for their involvement. And what this is just the budget by function. So you can see it in an overview how everything is broken down. There's a line item number for everything, and our budget falls within everything is allocated for. And as you can see per pupil, how much things cost. And what costs the most? Instruction. Instruction is what costs the most for us. So this is just giving you an overview of what it is and what account descriptions everything falls under. So everything we do must fall underneath this. And this is just the pie chart. So imagine a pie, and it may be cut into uneven slices, or maybe evenly cut. Or you may have, as you can see, this 65% is a large portion of the pie. And the most important part of this that I want you all to see is our budget. All of 65% of our budget is geared towards children and instruction, right? And so pupil services, things that go towards our children, 9%, the rest of that, everything goes towards how to increase student achievement. And that's important as you are trying to balance a budget, to make sure that your funds are going towards children and instruction. Majority of your funds have to do that if we are going to increase our student achievement. So at this time, we are going to discuss what you think and a couple of things that from what you saw. And what this process means here is that we received $584,000 possibly if we have to go into leveling. So there's a reserve, there's a little bank of this money that we could receive if it, we hit our numbers. So if this is almost like a dream, right? If I could, what would I do with this money? What is my plan for this money? And again, it's all going towards instruction and children and how to build their capacity and build teachers' capacity. The amount, $20,000 would go towards professional learning. That's conferences, dues, traveling, anything that's going to increase our teachers, give them tools in their toolbox in order to be better with their core content and how to strengthen our PBLs. $20,000 would go towards field trips, admissions, because again, we do not want our students to have to pay if they don't have to. We don't want them to have to pay for field trips and admission into places. So there's going to be $20,000 allocated for that. And also that goes towards materials that are related to PBLs, that goes towards science kits, all those things that are needed for STEAM. And $15,000 would go towards media supplies, web-based subscriptions, and all of these things are to increase our students' mastery of their content. All of this goes towards things that would help them. So at this time, my goal is to make sure that your voices are reflected in the school budget. And I also will be meeting with the associate superintendent. Remember, we have our staffing conference on Tuesday, February 21st. And at that time, of course, I'll bring back the feedback that you all, if you have any for me during this time, and other key leaders will be there that will help go over the budget again and make sure it's meeting the standards, it's meeting everything we said it would. And during this time, again, those conferences are going to take place next week. I will present the plan and the plan for staff utilization, how will teachers be affected? And again, the $0 out, because they will ask about the abolishment of positions and how they're being repurposed to where they're not leaving our building because they're valued and we need them. Resource distribution, what is our plan for staff implications if things change over the summer? And we will need to approve this budget in March. So we meet one more time, and that will be the time where we will approve everything. So at this time, I'm going to ask the chair to, this is the final task today. Chair, Ms. Porter, would you please lead us through these questions and things that we need to consider to ensure that we have a good working draft budget? And we're going to walk through these questions together. I'll turn it over to you now, Ms. Porter.
Thank you, Principal Green, for sharing this information. We will now need to discuss the draft budget to ensure it addresses our school's strategic plan and identifies priorities. Some questions for us to consider during our discussion. Number one, are our school's priorities from the strategic plan reflected in the budget? A, are new positions and our resources included in the budget to address our major priorities? B, do we know as a team the plan to support implementation of these priorities beyond the budget? Example, what strategies will be implemented? And C, what trade-offs are being made in order to support these priorities? Would you like me to stop there or move on to number two? Continue. Number two, how are district and cluster priorities reflected in our budget? A, cluster priorities. What staff, materials, etc. are dedicated to supporting our cluster's priorities? B, signature programs. What staff, materials, etc. are dedicated to supporting our signature program? And C, Are there positions our school will share with another school, e.g. nurse or counselor? So now we will now move on to the information items. And first will be the principal's report.
So I don't have any principal's report at this time. This was part of the report, going over the budget. And what I would like to consider, I did want to address where it says cluster priorities and signature programs, and ensuring, and that was a big thing for me, to ensure that we are aligning with our high school and our feeder schools. All things that we're doing, that were suggested, aligned to everything that our high school is doing. And also, we don't have to share nurse or counselor. So it was, we were able to, balance our budget to where we were able to keep all positions, and just repurpose them to where they're best fit, to be able to support children. No trade-offs were being made. Do we know that the plan supports the implementation of priorities? Everything aligns to what we all said and ranked as what we wanted for our school. So I just wanted to make that note as you consider and agree to what the draft budget states. And that's it for me, Ms. Porter.
Thank you, Principal Green. We will now move on to the announcements. Announcement 1, we remind our GO team members to complete their budget training on the Ellis platform. If you need assistance with the platform, contact the GO team office. Announcement. We do not have an announcement. We do have an announcement from the GO team office. Declarations for GO team elections are open until February 28th. We will need both parent, guardian, and non-supervisory instructional staff candidates. If you are interested or know of anyone else who would be a good fit for our team, please direct them to apssstrongschools.com to declare their candidacy. If you have questions, contact the GO team office. Does anyone have any additional announcements? We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion, Ms. Clark.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Clark and Ms. Leverett. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Any abstentions? Meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.